back with another episode in the La Rapport, episode 41. And today I'm just going to briefly discuss the crime situation in the Turks and Caicos Islands in relation to the capacity of the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Police Force to deal with the present crime situation as faced in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And I get it that residents are scared. They have never seen this level of violence before in the Turks and Caicos Islands. They have never seen this sheer brutality and the callousness and the precision and the brazenness in which crimes are being committed in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And for those of us who have been here before, the Turks and Caicos population passed 5,000, it will come as a shock to most of us that crime and violence have escalated to these levels. And it is scary, and I understand that, and I get it, that it is scary. But you know what else is scary? The police state. You know what is also scary? Freedom. So the knee-jerk reaction to dealing with the crime situation in the Turks and Caicos Islands is of concern to me. Giving the police more powers when they are not properly using the powers and authority that they currently have is a concern to me as a citizen of the Turks and Caicos Islands. If we look at many Latin American countries, South American countries, and even some countries in the Caribbean that have reacted in the very same knee-jerk manner, the only thing that more powers to the police do is corrupt the security apparatus, open law-abiding citizen to abuse and thuggish behavior from the security apparatus. And I get it that what the state fears most is a free and independent citizenry who could think for themselves and who is free, only constrained by constitutional law or constitutionally enacted laws and the Constitution itself. But the lack of efficiency and competence on behalf of the security apparatus is no answer to curtailing and inconveniencing law-abiding citizens. Any response to crime and violence must be precise, must be targeted, and must be only long enough to bring the situation under control. What I have seen are measures that are put in place that are open-ended and that I intend to be permanent, which will severely undermine the rights of citizens in this country and open the system to abuse from the security apparatus. I have long argued that the social, economic, and population explosion in the Turks and Caicos Islands in the last 20 years have outpaced the security apparatus. The security apparatus has not kept up to speed with the changing and emerging dynamics in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And as I have said privately, while in many countries the police force has galloped away on a fresh horse, the Turks and Caicos Police Force is still mounted on a tired old worn-out mule lagging far behind. In my view, it is the incapacity of the security apparatus to plan, to predict, to prevent, to investigate, and to produce properly gathered and admissible evidence in court. That is one of the major causes of the escalation of crime and violence in this country. Let us face it, and let us be real. A police officer is only trained for 6 months. The requirement for joining the police force is a high school diploma and 3 CXCs subjects. The same requirement to work as a cashier at IGA or KB Homes or Sam's Club. It's quite disappointing. It is not like the police force is attracting or is open and conducive to attract university graduates. A police officer is trained for 6 months, much shorter period of time than someone is trained to become a hairstylist, to work in a saloon, or a barber, or a plumber, or an electrician. This has to be something of concern, and we have to raise the standards of entry into the police force. We are suffering from a lack of training and intellectual capacity in the police force to deal with emerging trends of crime and violence. And as such, because most police officers are untrained and inexperienced, and it takes a long time, years, for any police officer to develop the requisite skills and knowledge in dealing with crimes, especially crimes of this magnitude. The police are lagging behind when it comes to investigative techniques, evidence gathering, crime scene protection, crime scene management, evidential procedures, evidence gathering, how to preserve evidence and to preserve exhibits, chain of custody, exhibit management, etc. How to give evidence properly in court. And most of all, a lot of police officers are lacking in integrity, and they lie and fabricate evidence that is not supported many times by the facts or the circumstances of the situation that they're investigating. They go into an investigation with a closed mind, with an opinion, and then they look for evidence to support that closed and narrow-minded approach to the investigation. And as a result, they miss crucial points, crucial evidence. They do not ask the right questions. People who could be material witness and could assist as witnesses in crime are treated as suspects. Legislation in place are misused by police officers. For example, the firearm related detention and bail ordinance, where police officers would take a suspect into custody, keep that suspect in custody for 47 hours, knowing that they only have 48 hours before they could make an application to the court. Fail to interview, fail to question that suspect within that period of time, and then at the last minute, in the 48 hour, they will apply to the court for further detention. And in most cases, the court would grant the further detention. Sometimes they grant them 7 days, 14 days, as the case may be. And in cases where they're granted, for example, 7 days, within 2 days of that period, they will release the person because they have not done their homework. They have no credible evidence to put to a suspect. And until we realize that there was an elephant in the room, and this elephant must be conquered and slaughtered, and the elephant is the inadequacy and incompetence of the police force, then we're not going to make any progress. In many Caribbean countries, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, the Bahamas, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the top brass of the police force are degreed persons, persons who have attained higher education. The middle management are degreed people, people who have gone through certain training and have attended universities and higher education. Their thought process is completely different than people who are just exposed to a basic level of education. Those are facts. And until the police force could attract the best brightest among us. I fear that crime and violence and its effect will remain with us for a long time. It is time for us to raise the standard of policing. It is time for us to properly invest in the police force. And this investment is not necessarily in equipment, but it was in a human resource in terms of its intellectual capacity to deal with crime and violence. Thank you.